with these two players, you very clearly don't want to take that risk of letting it through anyways. And even despite that, I feel like a lot of the falters we've seen with the comp wasn't so much because of the comp itself, but rather just people not practicing with the comp and just attempting to use it as a red herring to bait out a ban.
Yeah, we saw this with Mangle yesterday, kind of. He maybe didn't make that many mistakes with that, but he was steadily not playing this to its full potential. So,
right. But now already we're getting into the first match of the grand finals. This is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, we see Sis on the left-hand side, people, versus Cherry the Destroyer on the right-hand side. That's just such a magnificent matchup, people. So Cherry has added, okay, I added a little tag next to her name so that we kind of get to experience the caliber of the player she is, really. Guys, on the chat, please spam Cherry, take my energy, or Sis, take my energy. You have the blueprints, I kind of drop those for you on the chat, so you can just copy-paste, no worries there, nobody's gonna get banned for that. So let the people know whom you're following.
Coin flip, we see Cherry going first, and already you can see that she's very carefully thinking a lot, just taking a lot of time, not making any rash decisions, not rushing to take her turn, just, like, taking it slow, mulling over all of her different options, and coming to what she believes is the best choice, which in fact is going to be the Vestal, stunning the Jester. Vestal running double stun triggers, which means as soon as we see it hit, we know that it's going to be a stun, and first turn, Jester's already out of commission, is going to slow down Sis's tempo a lot, just not be able to get those harvest stacks, not be able to get the stacks of the finale, and just simply a single turn without a Jester can mean a huge difference.
Yeah, totally it can, right? And especially that, this Jester would have been able to perhaps just deliver a killing blow there on this Vestal right now, which is totally not going to be the case. We might see also this, there's kind of a small mistake by Cherry, I think. If you have a single active healer, you really don't want to be picking that healer from the get-go, right? You might just want to wait it out, wait for the hook, wait for the crit to come through perhaps even. And right now this is such a big threat on this Vestal of Cherry. Because this just might be a crit coming down, from this Obelisk kind of arbitrarily, and this will be just kind of punished quite swiftly as well by
Sis here. Cherry's trinkets, I think it's very clear that she intends to use the Vestal not for healing, but rather more so just to simply try and get as many stuns as possible, most likely chain stuns. However, I would agree that to a degree it is a misplay just acting with the Vestal first. However, because we see, the Bounty Hunter just be able to go for a hook, and now the Vestal is marked, they're going to take a lot of damage from the Arbalist, and they're no longer able to even be guarded due to the Tillard being able to bypass it due to the mark.
Yeah. Also,
so
Cherry...
already, the Vestal is in a huge, just an awful precarious situation.
Yeah, but at the very same time though, this Obelisk being activated quite soon into the stand actually means that, she doesn't make the most out of the Tiller, right? So the Tiller can actually do a lot more damage if you activate the Obelisk 4th, which he doesn't, which Sis doesn't really do in the end. And this actually means that there's a lot of damage potential kind of squandered for Sis. Whereas on the other hand, obviously, Cherry doing quite the clean job so far. She can potentially just guard the Vestal right now, maybe just kind of slow the incoming damage by at least a little bit. By at least a little bit. So
right,
the idea here is that
overall, I don't think that would do much. The Jester is in a position where he could just harvest and hit the Vestal. He could just Dirk stab. The Arbalist is still able to, just go for those sniper shots, and the Bounty Hunter most likely just be able to pick up a kill with the Caltrops. So I really do agree with Cherry just simply going for the offensive play, going for the Bellow, get some additional stress stacked onto Sis's team while also reducing their damage output by a bit, potentially giving the Vestal that tiny extra bit of survivability she'll need.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem with this is, although, the fact that, if you do get a stun number 2 right now if you're Cherry, this means that Sis just cleanses all those debuffs at the same time, and the protection that comes from the MAA is something you really have to reckon with. So maybe I'm not saying this is like a poor play, but maybe the guard could have been better because it also lasts longer, right? So it cannot be removed by what Sis has. So the guard Go ahead.
While the guard may not be able to be removed, he has so many ways of bypassing it that it would do extremely little to actually protect the Vestal. The only thing it would be accomplishing would be giving the Man-at-Arms a bit of extra protection, but seeing as how he's not at all the focus, I don't see how that would be useful. Now, we see Cherry again just try to simply stun that Jester. However, doing so, she activated the Vestal first, and now Vestal's most likely just going to be dead. There's no way to effectively guard her with it. There's no way to heal her. There's no way to put her into a safe position. I don't know if Cherry's going to be able to come out of this.
This is okay though. I think you just assume she's gonna die eventually coming into a fight like this. So,
well, I mean,
losing...
generally, it's not. It's a fairly safe assumption to say someone's going to die when there's an active bounty hunter on the field. However, she does actually make a very smart play, going for the abomination, transforming out, most likely going for the stun on the bounty hunter, landing it, and getting the stun. Excellent play on Cherry.
Yeah, now this is super clean.
Play, just continuing to push her tempo.
And the big problem for Sis is that he actually used his stun removal already, so there is no way to alleviate those stuns right now. This might just be a killing blow, which it is not, so right now this Vestal is very much safe where she is. And yeah, it's kind of scary for Sis, honestly, because she is taking a lot of stress. I feel like this would still be okay, like winnable situation for Cherry if she were to lose this Vestal right away. And since she's able to actually keep her alive, lands, like, she lands this kind of semi-lucky stun on this BH as well. This means that right now Cherry is in a prime position just to take over the match right now completely. Because, those barrels will keep stacking. You have to feel like, those 2 wasted turns on your biggest damage dealers as well, really something you don't want to happen at all. So, especially as, you have this hard seeker on the BH, which means, activating this, dropping a lot of damage on this abomination very, very quickly might indeed mean that you take over the fight. Because this might just be, a 40 damage crit even with the hard seeker against a day's target. So that's no longer on the cards. Again, Cherry is relatively safe right now.
Right, but just overall, I completely am adoring Cherry's play right now. That willingness to play extremely aggressive despite having a character on death's door, that willingness to take the risk, going for plays that, while the odds may not always be in your favor, just simply going for it, being willing to make that play and being willing to go for, such a play that would just advance your game state so much in such little time.
Yeah. I mean, right now the Vestal...
It's turn 2.
The Vestal is still safe, by the way. He can still heal her.
Yes.
And even if she dies... Even if she still dies right now, what good does it do to you, Sis? Because you have a perfectly healthy Houndmaster there. You have an Abomination ready to transform for the second time, which you, by the way, can in no way prevent, because he has no stance. Sis just has zero stance available.
No movement, nothing.
And, if you're trying to buy time, if you're Cherry, you might just go for another stun, just sacrifice this Vestal, because she's no longer an asset to you. Healing will really not do you any good. And this, again, prevents this Jester from stacking the finale damage, by the way. This is something we kind of haven't said much about, right? There is zero. I feel like she hasn't actually been activated once without a stun being there.
Exactly, yeah. It's already turn 3, and the Jester has not been able to take a single turn. Saying that he's behind in terms of his finale stacks is a vast understatement. Cherry does now lose the Vestal to the Bounty Hunter, but I'd say that she's more than done her job, with said job, being to deny that Jester his ability to play the game.
Yeah, and honestly, like, even if this Jester is activated right now, even if he gets to act, what good does it do to you? When he is not going to actually get this, 160, 180%, 160% finale bonus, which he usually would have had by now. Like by turn 4, we have, have used the deck up 4 times probably, or used the ballot as well. Nothing like this is on the cards right now for Sis. This Jester is absolutely like empty there. 0 bonus finale damage. You really need to land a crit, and then just nullify, like just obliterate someone from the get-go. Obviously those stuns no longer going to be a big factor for Cherry, right? So she might just be using this A-bomb to perhaps just drop a single stun every turn. But this
we see an Affliction act out on the armlet, passing the turn.
Oh, okay, this was a flare that did... Oh, this is such a big deal, by the way, for Cherry, because this is a Jester who doesn't get to act again. He would have been removed from the stun stance, and he would have from the stun state, and him just able to activate and do some damage right now. No longer on the cards for Sis. So this is such a brilliant position for Cherry. Because if you play Stress, this is a battle of attrition. Against a comp like Sis's here, you will lose a character eventually. The way, like, what matters is how soon you do this, and in what fashion you lose this. Right now, I feel like Cherry just was able to trade his Vestal's life for basically a lot of pressure in this fight. And you have to feel like this is just something that is her game to lose, despite being a character behind.
Right, it is still a very real possibility that if she makes a couple key misplays that Sis could come back. This game is far from over. However, Cherry is very much so, in an extremely large lead at this point. A character behind, but so far ahead in terms of stress, in terms of damage as well. Looking at the hit points of both the Jester, the Flagellant, and even the Bounty Hunter, they have taken so much damage that they're all, have a good chance of just being put into death's door, and as such, be taking even more stress.
I'm kind of surprised actually that she didn't go for the push on the Jester here, because this would have disabled the character for even longer. Because once he's deactivated, you know, you cannot just keep stun locking this with an A-bomb without stun trinket. So maybe just getting the push off would have kind of carried over to the following turns. Obviously, getting the second stack of Hara across the board is really all you need with the A-bomb like this. So it's not bad for Cherry, but I feel like she could have just pushed the Jester out, kind of getting a little bit of an edge again, like eking out another small lead. They kind of accrue over time through stress, and you know, this eventually just kills you. This might be a kill, by the way, it's a kill on the Flagellant.
We go for the we see the Hound's Harry come out. It ends up getting the killing blow on the Flagellant. And with that, the character number is now evened up. However, Sis's characters are in much worse shape than Cherry. All of them afflicted, all of them close to heart attacks, only about 50 to 60 stress away, and all of them not able to perform the jobs they need to do. You know, the Jester, he doesn't have the stacks needed to get a finale off. The Bounty Hunter, he was not able to get a pull, though he was able to mark, which means really Sis's only hope at this point is just simply hope for a big crit on the Arbalest sniper shot, and then a finale with the Houndmaster at, you know, 1 to 2 health.
Yeah, because there are no stacks of damage, right? So this Jester can finale, but I feel like Cherry's just not afraid, because she just knows, like, there is no way in hell that this Jester kills anybody. I mean, the problem is, however, you know, you might just still see a sniper shot come down on this Houndmaster, and this is a narrow pass, by the way. This is a narrow pass, isn't it?
No, it is movement.
Okay,
right, you can always tell if it's a pass because the timer at the top will instantly fade out.
Oh, okay.
But we do see the crit coming out, and with that, Cherry might actually be in a bit worse of a position. You know, the Jester will now be able to finale unless Cherry goes for the push. And
it's a stun.
Actually, instead choose to transform, potentially just wanting to stun. What do you think of that, Mike?
This is high accuracy, right? 10 accuracy more, but this is still a miss.
But it doesn't
And this
matter.
is a dead Houndmaster. This is just a dead Houndmaster. I feel like still she is still winning this game, because this Jester is super stressed. Uses the finale obviously at the best possible time, because you know he's still at quite low HP. So like he was just gonna drop to 0 HP anyway with the damage. So you know the heart attack really doesn't do that much harm to you. Also, this is like natural stress. This is not like 100% bonus stress that would have normally accrued over time. So I feel like this is just correct timing for this to happen. Still, nonetheless, looking very, very scary for Sis. I feel like he's like 0 ways of coming back into this game right now.
Exactly. Yeah, we see Cherry just simply go for the bellow, and we're now seeing chain heart attacks on both the Arbalest and the Jester. Anyone being activated, you know, they're very likely to die. The Arbalest cannot heal. The Jester, as soon as he is activated, is going to die from horror. The Bounty Hunter, as soon as he's activated, is going to end up having a heart attack. And we have to really wonder, does Sis have any potential chance here? I'd say no.
Yeah. I mean, like, there is a comment from Mangle on the chat, you know, him saying that Jester maybe isn't that OP, judging by this tournament alone, but this is because people just read into what you're going to be playing against. Right now, Sis just surrenders, gives up this game. Cherry is in a commanding 1-0 lead right now. She did play this game perfectly well. What a beautiful display of skill, and we might just see, you know, Sis potentially just getting eliminated by his own girlfriend in the tournament. I mean, this shouldn't be as surprising how well Cherry has been playing, you know. Cherry is named Cherry the Destroyer for a reason, guys. And this is because she destroys.
And also, going back to the comment from Mangle for a moment, you know, we talked about how Jester might actually not be that overpowered. One thing you have to remember is that this tournament is played with essentially open information. You know, you're able to see the comps ahead of time, even if you don't know which one you're going to face, which means, and a lot of times, you know, you can play with the confidence knowing that you're going to be facing a Jester or not, and, you know, be able to sort of adjust your game plan beforehand, you know, as opposed to just queuing on a random ladder where you don't know until the timer starts ticking on your first turn.
Yeah. So within the tournament meta, by the way, like, you also know what your opponent is going to play, as you said, but this means you can just equip, like, potentially at least tools to deal with what they have, right? So if you kind of let a Jester through, you take a Rampart. Like, we actually saw Cherry, I feel like this was Cherry, right, doing a lot of work with the Ramparts yesterday in her games against Mangle, right? She was actually able to consistently prevent those finales from coming through, and those guys are not waiting. They're just going to game number 2 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just right off the bat, very little time to think. It appears that they're both extremely confident in their game plans going into game 2 of the grand finals. This could, you know, be an even up 1-1 for Sis and Cherry. However, there's also the potential that Cherry will just simply pull ahead and get even more of a commanding lead. We see the coin flip, we see Sis go first, and we see that he's actually not only going with the same comp, but we see that Cherry is mirroring it. You know, them both having the exact same comp of Flagellant, Bounty Hunter, Jester, and Arbalest.
I mean, this has been like a staple top performer for CEST, you have to believe, right? This comp we see here, and if I feel like this is just a comp that CEST also designed, like, you know, to counteract those bans on the Halo comp, because this one just works almost as well, you know, lacking the stun, obviously a small detriment, but still having the Flagellant there to just deliver a lot more damage is also going to work in your favor. So you just have to feel like CEST should be very much comfortable in this matchup. Also, he goes first, so, you know, getting additional pressure, getting additional momentum here in this is going to matter so much.
We actually see Cherry go for a very greedy play, not in the game itself, but in her trinket choice, not running a snuff on the Arbalest when, you know, she knew that there was going to be a fairly good chance that there was going to be a Bounty Hunter on CEST's side.
Yeah, absolutely.
We see the two Bounty Hunters just simply trading the come hithers, getting the Arbalest into second position, and just, you know, marking them both at the same time. Though at this point, you have to wonder who's in a better position. I'd personally say CEST, as his Jester is in third, meaning he can just simply Dirk Stab, and that'll put the Arbalest in a position where they can then Sniper Shot again. Meanwhile, Cherry's Jester is in fourth.
Yeah, totally. God, it's gonna be such a close fight nonetheless, right? Those both Arbalests kind of stacked there. So, I mean, the good part for both of those Arbalests is they cannot really harm each other. They're kind of checking, right? So, I feel like, again, like you said, like the Dirk Stab comes through for CEST, and he's going to be able to indeed get that shot off. So this might be something that really decides this game. Oh, okay, that's kind of a good move as well from Cherry, actually counteracting that.
Solo come out, yeah, applying a very similar amount of pressure to what the Dirk Stab of CEST would accomplish.
Yeah, that's what the solo is for, right? Apparently.
Exactly, yeah, just simply getting that Jester back into first position after he's been either pushed or someone else has been pulled.
Yeah, it's very solid use of Solom, and I really like this, because this basically means that, you know, finally this skill has some real usage outside of just kind of looking cool, right? I'm very happy that they are indeed doing this right now.
We actually saw CEST go for a Bola, a very interesting play, most likely wanting to try and push the Flagellant out, make it so that he won't be able to land the Rain of Sorrows this turn.
But also, I kind of disagree with this, right? You can just Dirk Stab into a Sniper Shot, just getting this guaranteed damage through, which Cherry just does right now. 20 isn't a big number, though. You have to believe, like, this could have hit so much more than this. Well, I feel like what CEST was trying to do here actually was not just threatening the Flagellant. It was actually mostly trying to do damage the Jester of Cherry, who is actually taking heavy DOTs right now. He took like a little bit damage to the face again over time, so maybe just this is going to work, right? Because getting rid of the Jester before he is able to use the finale is just a huge benefit for your team.
Right, you know, Jester, while he does have the great damage over time via the Harvest, and, you know, just him being able to stack Hemlock on top of that, and, you know, having the utility of Dirk Stab bypassing guard, everybody knows what Jester's main deal is. Everybody knows why you pick him, and that's for finale. And being able to shut down somebody's Jester before they're able to let out the finale is an absolutely huge thing if you wish to, you know, try and win the game.
Yeah, but this Arbalest might just be going down quite soon, right? I mean, Cherry would probably just go for a shot right now, just trying to drop the HP on the Arbalest to the range in which Jester can just capitalize on that. By the same by the same token, though, you know, CEST does have the healing available. The breastplate does provide you some protection as well, so this damage from the Jester will need to be very high for this to actually work. You see 41 crit. I don't think this really matters, because this, you know, this Arbalest would have just gone to like 2 HP anyway on activation. So I feel like CEST just activates this right now, goes for a heal, maybe gets enough HP back to just stay alive. You know, the plate actually gives you some decent portion of protection. Oh, he has no breastplate, never mind that.
Right, he has no breastplate.
Oh, okay, this might be just a dead, this is probably a dead Arbalest.
Protection, and with that, with that, I believe that the Jester has a fairly good chance to just kill out right here with the finale. If not, then, you know, Cherry's always just able to pivot back into the Harvest, you know, get some more damage over time stacking.
She can Harvest, she can only Deck Stab from there. I absolutely agree. Yes. It looks like a finale to me, honestly. I mean, you can just try to kind of secure this, so you can just go for Caltrops here, you can just go for the Flagellant, you know, dropping the... Oh, yeah, that's exactly what Cherry does, see? So she
And this is actually a very smart play, alongside, you know, getting that tiny bit of extra damage over time via the bleed. We see the Jester on Cherry side is actually running the Blood Red Coin, giving it extra damage when the target is bleeded, getting that extra bit of synergy between the Bounty Hunter and the Jester.
Yeah, I mean, what this does actually for CEST... Sorry, yeah, for Cherry is like a single digit HP with those very low rolls initially on the finale actually matters so much. This might be the difference between you winning the game or losing the game right now. So I absolutely agree with her, doing what she did there, going for that, for the couch, just at least a single HP of damage is really going to matter right now. So I feel like 8 damage is exactly what you want. This kind of this golden point where maybe it's like 91% I feel chance to get the kill right now for Cherry. Which is like the single damage bracket that might not go through, which otherwise would have been like I think like 70%. So yeah, which it's kind of a decent play I feel for Cherry. She did the right thing there. You just have to feel she's gonna go for the finale here, which she does not do. So it's
she's just to activate the flagellant, most likely just going for an exsanguinate, trying to heal him back up, as well as applying pressure to CEST's own Jester, getting him down a good amount of HP.
Oh, the both bleed and very fortunate, because that would have been like 11 damage over time. That's just completely neglected by CEST, and it really matters so much, right? It just matters so much. By the way, if you potentially do a pull on this Arbalest of Cherry there, you do get her to row 1, right? Which means that she's just going to be unable to really do anything useful, because both are obviously not the strongest skill in the game.
Right, however, putting her in row 1 means that the Jester is now able to go for the Harvest if Cherry doesn't wish to go for the immediate finale.
Oh, but you might...
like maybe even just simply go for a Harvest and then try to finale CEST's own Jester the next turn to stop him.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to do this though, like, if you don't go finale yourself, you might just kind of see a Hail Mary from CEST, just activating his own Jester and just getting the Jester down from Cherry. I mean, this might be just kind of a trade-off finales, because the Jester of CEST is very much stacked up. Like, this is 10-3, this is 80% bonus, maybe not enough actually to kill the Cherry's Arbalest, though maybe that's just kind of a little bit too it might be just not enough damage, seriously. Well, honestly, like, the problem for CEST right now is that this Arbalest will consistently push out his Jester out. So we'll consistently push the Jester of CEST out with the Bowler, right? This is 80% move chance, quite high still. So it might just mean that this Jester of CEST is never going to be able to finale for the following 3 turns, potentially even, right? Which is obviously kind of a big deal for Cherry. Just preventing another potential finishing blow is very big.
Like CEST just simply pulling the Arbalest forward, it disables the sniper shot. However, Bola can, in some situations such as this, be a force to be reckoned with in its own right, being able to get that push on the Jester and all that, Yeah,
absolutely. So if you're Cherry right now, you just have to be feeling good about yourself, right? Because you are very far ahead in this game. You are doing a lot of damage. Again, that's what I said, she prevents the finale of the Bola, so there is no real risk, there is no real threat. By the way, this BH in 4th, really the worst place for the character to be in. Obviously, you still do have the Caltrops, but man, there's just 0 damage coming through it from you, right? You take this item, you take the Heartseeker on this BH just to be able to consistently deliver damage, and right now you're just not able to do so at all. Obviously, like, the Jester of Sideload of CEST here does threaten the backline of Cherry, does threaten the Arbalest as well, 12 DOTs coming through. Then this is the real question. If you are CEST, do you go for the Caltrops right now, or do you just move forward and wait? Because next turn this might just be a free triple kill if you play your cards right. So you might just go kind of
very true,
You might go greedy here.
Just simply waiting on the Caltrops, waiting to pull the trigger and potentially, waiting for a better shot to line up and be able to get a lot more value out of said Caltrops. I'd say it could be a very good play.
Yeah, also this Jester...
finish him come out from Cherry, just simply get CEST's Jester down to Death's Door, and now he's under a lot of pressure. Not only does Cherry still have the Flagellant, however, also has the Jester. However, we see CEST just simply decide to go for the Caltrops, getting the death blow on the Arbalest.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of opens up for another kill for, like, because Cherry probably will kill the Jester of CEST, but by the same token, Cherry's BH is probably going to... Sorry, I'm wrong. Like, Cherry will go for Cherry will get the Jester of CEST. By the same token, CEST will probably respond in kind on the Jester of Cherry. Oh, okay, this is just a little too... Like, that's just... She kind of misses the mark with that bleed. I feel like this is going to be a 0 HP Jester for Cherry, which it isn't. So CEST stays alive anyway on his Jester as well, so it looks great. Even the Rain of Sorrows just doesn't do the job either, so... Oh god, this is kind of a mistake by Cherry, I have to feel, because CEST just goes first right now. And he might just go for the Hail Mary kill with the Jester. Like, getting the Flagellant down is going to be probably a W for CEST, really.
There's
this
very real potential in that, and yeah, you have to agree. You know, like Cherry got extremely unlucky there. You know, having the Dirk Stab plus the finisher on the Jester, you know, just simply wasn't able to pick up that kill. And now CEST potentially, you know, just being able to go for a solo or even just a harvest, maybe even just a Dirk Stab.
Dirk Stab, it has to be a kill now.
Kill.
It feels like it is a kill indeed. He confirms it.
Yeah.
So a big mistake by Cherry. Kind of, I really don't like that because this was just a hell game to lose right now. She had all the tempo advantage in the world. I feel like CEST is just gonna pull ahead now. So it's kind of a big throw.
You could see that as soon as she missed the death blow with the Jester's Dirk Stab, you can see that she very much so just tunnel visioned on killing the Jester and didn't care for her own Flagellant's health. And with that, the Flagellant's dead, and she's now very much so in a losing position.
And that's why people actually are so afraid of playing against this composition, right? You have two potential death blow sources with this BH and with this Jest, and both of those super good at their job as well. So seeing that Cherry actually just goes for a kind of risky play that doesn't pay off, like this Flagellant had no real purpose there, like, you know, doing what he did. Like, he would have just exsanguinated again, healed himself to, you know, manageable HP levels and been fine. But obviously, right now we see a kind of a riposte coming from Cherry getting the kill on the Jester finally, and this is going to be a 2v2 right now, and I feel like this is kind of a matchup that goes in CEST's favor now because he does have the Flagellant. And the Flagellant isn't really that hard, like he is going to use the Redeem right now, but this means that there's a lot of healing left, and also there are really no big bleeds available to Cherry. I mean, we can see those harvests right now dropping down, but by the way, Cherry is very much ahead on the Jester, and she probably just loses the Jester from the get-go. It is a dead Jester.
Will just simply be able to take down the Jester.
What a turn of events, really. I didn't expect this to happen, but it just feels like this is right now CEST's game to lose. It's like basically unwinnable for Cherry right now. Because like I feel like Flagellant versus a BH, like I would just take the matchup as a Flagellant 10 times out of 10. I mean, you just move this Flag right now forward. Obviously, you lose the BH because there is like he just doesn't have any function right now anymore on this team. Like he's just gonna get executed by finishing by Cherry. But still, this Flagellant of CEST, very healthy, very much able to just take down the BH because you just need so much damage, and you know you just stack a couple of bleeds on this guy, and eventually just get the kill. Man, so fortunate for Cherry, honestly.
Right, you know, this whole game we saw Cherry just absolutely dominating.
for CEST, yeah.
This whole game we saw Cherry just absolutely dominating, taking a definitive lead at the very start. However, just one or two misplays, as we said, caused Cherry to completely drop it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's very unfortunate to see.
Yeah, not getting the killing blow and kind of not really playing alongside it, because, you know, DED just can feed you bad RNG, and it is very often like your... it's often up to you as to what you do with this bad RNG, right? You might kind of... You still, like, okay, DD or Butcher Circus specifically is about damage control. Something bad happens, you just have to take a breather, think about this for a second.
Unless CEST just simply decides to go for an exsanguinate on a corpse, Cherry might actually still be in this.
Yeah. Okay, that's... Because, yeah, I feel like you have to do this now,
If CEST does not get the death blow here, or he chooses to exsanguinate a corpse, then that means Bounty Hunter is still alive, and that's another chance to get the kill.
Yeah, it's gonna be 100% kill as well, you have to believe, to finish him, right? So, maybe not 100, because you have 90% death blow, it's gonna be like 85% death blow chance.
Close to like a 90%.
Oh, but yeah, still very high.
To exsanguinate the corpse.
Yeah, very smart. Like, that's what you do. But there is no Gauntlet of Absolution, so this Flagellant just kind of doesn't heal as much as he should be. So it looks kind of... Okay, right now there's gonna be a trade-off blows. Like, this might just decide, like, whether this BH does get enough damage right now or not. I'm not sure, like, he might have, like, a single X-Sang left as well. This is 18 down. This is, like, again, Death's Door for the Flagellant. Man, there's gonna be such a close ending.
If Flagellant doesn't manage to get the kill on the Bounty Hunter right here and now, then there's a chance that this may lose this yet. 9 healing, so... I mean, you need 2 10s with the BH still to take a kill, so this is kind of still very much, I feel like, working RNG-wise anyway in CEST's favor. But Cherry... Right, but the thing is, yeah, Cherry just simply goes for the finish him now, gets him back into Death's Door.
There's another X-Sang, though. There's another X-Sang on the way.
Because he has the 100% healing debuff, meaning that he won't be able to heal at all.
It's true, so
Which means now, if he doesn't get the kill, then Cherry will win this.
Oh, he gets it though.
With that, he gets it.
Whew, a coin toss is a 1-1 series, guys, in the finals right now.
It's a 1-1 series that all came down to a coin toss in the end.
You have to like feel bad for Cherry though. She could have definitely taken that had she not lost the Flagellant so early into this matchup. Right. Because this basically just broke her back there. there is no other way to put it, right? It's just kind of meant that she was not overall able to just take over the game, which she was definitely doing. So Sis obviously showing a lot of what do you call this? Moxie? Do we call this Moxie? No. No, what do you call this? Like the resolve? You can say resolve, right? There's like another word for this, like starting with M. Anyway, he shows a lot of resolve nonetheless, and he does. What is Moxie, Salench? You're a native speaker of English. Explain that.
Moxie is generally seen, as far as I remember, sort of like a drive to win. Like saying that somebody has a lot of moxie is, like somebody saying that they have like a lot of guts or like a lot of confidence to do something.
So that actually worked then. That actually made some sense. I didn't kind of humiliate myself anyway. So that works, guys. This means, people, we are 1-1 in the series. There are 2 compositions left per player. So both Sis and Cherry were able to take a game of each other. Very even, by the way, very even series. I feel like Cherry had this game in the bag as well. She kind of slowly, she did in the end kind of throw the lead and ended up losing in the RNG battle between the BH and the Flagellant. But still,
right.
Very, very close series overall. Like, expected this to go to get like a bit more in favor of Sis. I believe like that's just something we kind of all anticipated.
But no, once again, Cherry and Sis giving everybody no time to think, already hopping into the 3rd match of the Grand Finals.
Okay, we are already in it actually. Like, so we have loaded in. Like, let's just go into this. Wow, they're so fast on the day. Man, so like that's the same comp by Cherry, and Sis goes for Stress. Sis goes for the Zedus comp. Like, we have the Abomination, the Crusader, the MAA, and the Houndmaster. Very tanky boys, but those boys are slow, Salentia. They're so slow at getting the killing blow. They're so hard to kill, but not to the DOTs, I think. There are so many dots on the deck of Cherry right now. She might just take this game by the, but just because her deck is so powerful against this particular comp.
Right, we see Sis just, first turn immediately transforming that Abomination, pushing out the Flagellant. Does not want to deal with any of that. Doesn't want to let even a single Rain of Sorrows come down. He doesn't want the backline to be threatened. He doesn't want the Flagellant to be able to get, anything going. We see Cherry, however, just simply go ahead, activate the Bounty Hunter, most likely going to go ahead, pull the Houndmaster, and now he's in a fairly precarious spot. Not going to be able to be guarded under the assumption that Cherry has the Tiller, and, Jerk Stab plus Tiller will make it so that the Houndmaster has potential of dying very early on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So instead of, just simply going for the Defender, I'd say it actually could be better if Sis just simply went for the Bellow to debuff, as well as going for the Blackjack, preparing for the pull, having that option when you're in second to help disable Cherry's comp a bit. I'd say it's an extremely smart pick.
Yeah, I really don't like this by Cherry, by the way. Like, you should be making... Obviously, she gets a high roll on this Arbalest, but if you have the Tiller, you should really be waiting for the final part of the turn. There's nothing really that... Because that also gives you a lot of momentum, because right now, this is time for Sis to react to what happened. He can heal, he can keep this character alive, and unlike... if Cherry was just to wait for this, like, wait until the end of the turn, because she has 0 finishers available right now. There is no way for her to capitalize on this Houndmaster. So right now, Sis has all the time in the world to just heal the Houndmaster back up to full HP, or like maybe not, at least heal the Dev's Door, and then just guard the Houndmaster as well.
Exactly, yeah, disabling the Finale from going through.
And this is just a safe position. If Cherry was to just do this last moment, this would have actually meant, first of all, okay, she would have been controlled a little bit because she would have probably taken a stun or taken like a Holy Lance to the face, right? But still, this would have kind of meant that, Sis would have been forced to react on the spot. Right now, however, we see that, there is a lot of stuff kind of going down in order to just alleviate the pressure. So it just kind of looks good for Sis right now.
We actually see Cherry go ahead and just move the Flagellant back into first, causing the Jester to be pushed back into third, and making it so that Cherry will not have Finale available to her on turn 2, making this Houndmaster effectively safe for the moment.
Yeah, but you can still kind of X-Sang the guy, right? You can just go for an X-Sang into finish him or something. I actually haven't seen people do this tournament at all, but you can still always move. If you see like there's no more guard available, you can just, or no more push available, you can just move the Jester into the position to get the kill with the Finale. There were quite a few moments in this tournament overall where people just didn't kind of see this as an option. And this is such a valuable move. Like, you trade 2 boosts for a kill, but still I feel like this is something that's just kind of worth considering at the very least.
Right, now here we see Sis make a very interesting play, going for the Holy Lance, pushing the Houndmaster back into third, making it so that he isn't a target for the Exsanguination that you mentioned. What are your thoughts on that?
he had to get the Crusader in position because this is a stress comp. You really want to have like at least access to the Zealot's accusation and to the utility, to the burst of stress it provides. Also the stance, very important to control what Cherry has on the team, right? So I feel like that's just a very correct move, just getting the Houndmaster out of harm's way as well. Just making sure the guy just lasts and does as much stress damage as humanly possible. Obviously, he might die. Like we saw this, like we said this over and over again. If you're playing stress, you will lose people on the way. There's no way to prevent this. You will just probably, falter at some point and lose your characters. However, we see actually CEST, again, playing this very aggressively, doing a lot of damage with those characters. This kind of uncharacteristic, honestly, for stress comps, right? Just doing so much damage across the board. Like, he has been able to get the Holy Lance off. He has been able to apply a lot of pressure with those transformations as well. So right now we see actually Sidelar taking a damage advantage against a comp that's very much designed to just deliver shitloads of damage upon their opponents. It's kind of scary.
Exactly, I'd say that's
go ahead.
why some of the higher ranking stress characters on most people's tier lists are just so good, because take the Crusader and the Abomination for example. They both do so much stress and are able to apply so much pressure that way. However, they can very easily smokescreen into damage and just get people down to death's door insanely quickly, and it's just absolutely incredible what they're able to accomplish while still doing stress on top of it.
Yeah, and we have seen CEST pivot into damage over and over again. This is something you just have to always respect from him, right? He's always going to be able to just kind of put the ball in your opponent, in his opponent's court, just get a lot of damage done, force them to heal, to play safe, rather than just kind of to deliver their own game plan. Because the plan for the game, the win condition for Cherry is kill at least 2 characters by 10-5. If you do not get this thing done by then, I feel like you're just gonna automatically lose. And Cherry is not getting this job done right now. She does a lot of damage here, obviously, but I just don't feel, again, this is just gonna be enough. She needs this finale.
Coming down. There was a finish him coming down on a dazed character nonetheless, alongside a crit. However, the bellows that have been stacking on Cherry's team due to the Man-at-Arms have already begun to, sort of stack up and just make it so that her damage is very heavily neutered.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see this kind of pressure creeping in as well. Because if you are a stress comp, you're healing, you're probably okay. You are not okay healing against stress. That's what I've been saying on my stream all the time. Like, you are not fine healing against stress. Cherry is healing against stress right now. And man, doesn't it feel really bad for her right now, because she needs to get those kills. And again, like, CEST takes the momentum, gets a stun on the BH, preventing any sort of really high amount of pressure from coming through. This Arbalest right now might be just forced to deliver a flare just to get this BH a turn, or she might just be forced to ignore this character, which again doesn't quite play into her game plan overall.
Right, because just comps such as what we're seeing from CEST, Crusader, Abomination, Houndmaster, and Man-at-Arms, you can't really afford to ignore any of them, as all of them are such major sources of both stress and damage,
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter who you try and focus down, they still have 3 other characters that are so self-sufficient and are able to apply so much pressure that unless you're able to burst the opponent down extremely quickly, spending even 2 turns trying to kill a character can mean your demise.
By the way, this is why the Crusader is so important on the Halo comp. This is why it's kind of superior perhaps to the Flagellant. Because here, not only do you have a stun of your own that allows you to at least absorb some pressure, which this Flagellant right now isn't really doing at all. You do also have the stun, right, which can control your opponent and kind of maybe disable his own disables. Because let's face it, CEST doesn't really have a way of preventing the stuns from coming through. So if there was a Crusader on the side of Cherry, she would have probably been able to just maybe even pull the Houndmaster forward, get the stun, and then get a kill directly afterwards. So right now this is just not on the cards. Also preventing the stuns on the Jester, preventing the pushes on the Jester, right? This is something that gives you a lot of control into those fights, and this is just something that's a tool that Cherry doesn't have at her disposal. Instead, she has this kind of semi-useless Flagellant right now. Obviously, he did a lot of damage. He did a lot of work on the backline of CEST, but I just have to wonder if this is enough or not.
Exactly, though here we actually see Cherry activate the Jester, go for the Dirt Step, and with that, the Houndmaster is going to be dead. CEST has no way of preventing this.
Oh, he had stun.
The bounty hunter the previous turn, meaning that their resistance is... Oh, sorry, no, that was the turn before that. So,
there's a stun available. There's a coin toss between a dead Houndmaster and a not dead Houndmaster. It doesn't come through.
Does not. Comes up tails, and with that, the Houndmaster is going to be dead, and with that, CEST loses a pretty big source of stress on his team.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest source of stress overall. Like, Houndmaster absolutely crucial to keep the guy alive. Like, you lose the Vestal, it's kind of okay. I mean, she is useful, obviously, she does stuns, but she just is there mostly to absorb pressure in this matchup. However, if you have a Houndmaster, he's the core of your team. He is the character that actually delivers all the stress. The Jester of Cherry also dodges. This is a potentially dead Abomination right now, because you have to imagine...
It could end up being, the Jester hasn't been controlled very much. He's been able to just sort of roam freely, get Dirk Stabs off and all that. And because of that, he has a fairly, large amount of stacks of Finale. And with that, he may be able to just straight up take the Abomination down,
18 HP though, I feel like this is not enough yet. 10-4, the Jester will stand at least once, I think, so this is definitely not enough HP yet. However, this is a very heads-up play by Cherry. Look, she pulls
going for the come hither, preventing the Crusader from going for a stun, making it so that, the Arbalists won't have to waste their turn, potentially having to clear that.
Yeah, there's no Rampart. There's no Rampart on the MAA. Like, he might just be the target right now. Look at this, he's marked. You can just see a sniper shot come down, followed up by the Finale perhaps, or just even a Dex that just secured the kill without, spending that Finale yet. You just have to feel like, Cherry actually managed to claw her way back into this. When she got the kill on the Houndmaster, absolutely the priority target for you if you're playing damage comps, and then she just kind of capitalizes, gets a crit through as well. This Crusader can heal this, but still the Finale will be a kill no matter what. Like, you cannot, you can no longer out heal. This is just so much damage.
Healing this would be a misplay to the highest of degrees. Because, no matter what, Cherry's going to want to go for that Finale, just let it rip, get the guaranteed kill on the Man-at-Arms.
Oh, this is another dodge as well.
Try to go for the Holy Lance to pressure the Jester, but it misses once again, despite the Jester not actually running any dodge trinkets, just going with his base dodge of 25.
So, the question is, if you're Cherry, do you use the Finale now, or do you hold on to this? Because if you
I'd say that you absolutely use it now.
I would Finale as well. My reasoning behind this is that you are against a Crusader and an Abomination, both of which very good at controlling the Jester. So
goes for the Dirk Stab, and it actually pays off.
Alright, fine by me. If she gets it, she gets it, right? But it's kind of a risky move, perhaps a bit unnecessary. Obviously, you can still use this Jester now to absorb more pressure. So you can just use this Jester, right, kind of like a sponge, just kind of force Sis to use attacks on the Jester instead of, executing still his stress plan. However, you can see, like, actually Sis being in a very, very dire spot right now, because X-Tank drops down on this Abomination as well. That's a lot of bleed potentially coming down, and by the same token, this is probably an Abom that on activation will just die to anybody else on the team on the team of Cherry, right? So Cherry coming her back into this, I felt like, Sis had a decent advantage, but right now, like, Cherry just kind of got those spikes of damage. She managed to burst down multiple targets of Sis, and she's really coming into a lead right now.
Absolutely, here we could just see Cherry go ahead and go for the Illuminating Flare, get rid of the stun as well as the Lingering Bellow debuffs, and just simply pick up the kill on the Abomination. Even if he tries to push the Jester out, then, we could just simply see the Flagellant to, get him down to Death's Door, and then the Jester kill with the Dirk Stab.
Yeah, I mean, you can just remove the stun.
Right, we see Cherry actually instead decide to try and focus on the Crusader now, just simply leaving the Abomination alone for now. What are your thoughts on that? I
mean, I feel like Cherry just knows what she's doing, so unless Sis just pushes out the Jester right away, what Cherry does is she cleanses cleanses the stun with the flare and just finales the A-bomb. And that's a 1v4 Crusader. Sis actually reads into this, so he does the right thing. Right, so that's still a correct move by Sis nonetheless, but he can still just kind of forces her to heal the Jester as well, so works very much in Sis's favor. But this Abomination not gonna be long for this world. You just have to feel like a single 10 device is able from life and death really. We might see Cherry actually do quite a few different things this turn. She might just go for a sniper shot on this Crusader, honestly, because there's no reason not to do this, really. There's a mark on the way. You can just deliver a lot of damage. She might just go for a Bola as well. Maybe just to lower the HP of the A-bomb.
To just heal the Jester, go for the Illuminating Flare.
But there is no threat on the Jester, right? You don't really have to heal the guy, because unless he moves forward next turn, he's just safe in the back row. So she just goes for what I said. Like, she does 32 damage without a crit. And this is really
like... you do have to remember the Jester is running the finisher and is afflicted, which means there is a chance that if they act down and hit themselves, that they will just simply get the kill.
I think this is the risk you have to take right now if you're Cherry, because you do not want to allow the comp by Sis to kind of reign free and do whatever they want. So Cherry just kind of controlling him in a very decisive fashion. I feel like she just did the right thing there. Like taking 30 HP off the back of a Crusader with a single shot is something you really want to do. And she just capitalizes on that and she gets that damage down. And this is such a great move overall by Cherry.
Exactly. You know, just like at this point, you have to wonder, is there any way Sis is going to be winning this, or is he going to have to try to win the next, 2 games?
I have to say this is gonna be like a big fat nope. Doesn't feel like there is any avenue back into this game for Sis right now. So he's gonna have to kind of pray he wins the next following 2 matchups, or he's just gonna lose the championship title, right? From Michigan's tournament, which he holds right now. So right now we are looking at potentially 2-1 by Cherry, and that previous game by the way was very close as well. So this could be like a 3-0 as well by Cherry right now.
Exactly. There's a very real chance that Cherry just simply got a clean 3-0 victory against Sis, which would have been an upset of just
the century, right? Absolutely.
She came out of nowhere, was just invited to fill a role, and had the potential to get a 3-0 victory against the reigning champion. Absolutely incredible. And
you have to say, like, not only is Sis a reigning champion, he's also a very good player. So,
without a doubt, yes.
So, Cherry being able to just take over that person, like, that's just crazy. I mean, she defeated Mangle, who also, I feel like Mangle was even better than Sis at some points. I feel like if we saw, like, maybe Sis versus Mangle today, would have also been a very, very close series. But Cherry is just decisively destroying Sis, and probably, like, the game belongs to her right now. Obviously, she's no longer going to be able to use this comp. She's going to be left with a single composition, which allows Sis to just adjust between the games, just get the right trinket choices, and perhaps just, adjust to what he kind of expects to happen. Right, so obviously being 1-2 in a series is not that bad for Sis, because he's just exactly going to know what composition his opponent is going to be using, and he can just prepare for this so much better than Cherry, because Cherry's just gonna have to kind of toss the dice, or toss a coin at least, and just guess what exactly is she going to be up against in the follow-up matchup here.
Right.
And Sis is playing very well. Like, it's just Cherry outplaying him in every single situation, you have to feel. Like, she has such great game sense, honestly. That's just remarkable.
Right, just making so many just small decisions that many wouldn't think of. For example, pulling the Man-at-Arms to push the Crusader back into third, making it so that he wasn't able to stun the Jester. Just like so many small plays with just all the minute interactions have just shown how proficient she truly is.
Yeah, so I think she learned that trick from Mangle yesterday, by the way, because Mangle was doing this, like, he was very obnoxious with those pulls as well. So yeah, she just kind of picked up the trick from his book, I think. And it's working, right? It's working so well right now. I feel like I'm learning a lot about the Butcher Circus just watching those games. So it's gonna be really fun just coming back to the ladder with all those exciting comps. I think I might just also make a video about the composition we saw in the tournament, because there are so many really great ones here. Seriously, there are so many great comps available right now. Okay, so that's it. Cherry is 2-1 in the series, and she's a single W away from taking it home.
Exactly. Are we going to see Sis try to make the comeback? Win Game 4 and then take it down to a Game 5 scenario, or are we going to see Cherry just completely obliterate him with the 1-3 victory?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I feel like it feels like Cherry the Destroyer, as we call her right now, is doing to Sis what Sis did to Adelbart before. So
that is very true. We saw Sis's very dominant victory over Adelbart. The last game, it's one of just the most oppressive things I've ever seen in Butcher Circus. However, seeing that same beast, that same monster that just completely threw him down, just being overrun by Cherry, it's truthfully a testament to how good both these players are.
Yeah, I mean, Cherry is left with a composition. Like, there will be potentially a mirror matchup right now, because both Cherry and Sis hold the Zetus comp available, right? The A-Bomb, Crusader, MAA, Houndmaster. Right. And Sis knows he's going to be up against this. I think he's just very good on the composition as well, so he probably should be able to take the game of Cherry. He's like way more practice on the comp anyway. So seeing also, like, Cherry hasn't really performed that well on the stress comps altogether, barring like the single game that she got W on. I feel like she was just better on the damage comps than on the stress comps altogether. Right. I think they're going into the game as well, so you have no time to discuss it anymore.
Potential trinket counterpicks, things such as numbing incense on the front too, but it really doesn't matter as we're already getting into the 4th game of this series. These two, despite how much Sis advocates for slowing down and giving yourself time to think. He is just rushing into these games.
Yeah, absolutely. It might be kind of frustrating for him, right? Because he taught her everything. He's just gonna take him down. Can you believe this? This is a mirror matchup, by the way. This is Sis versus Cherry in the very, very mirror that we talked about. So is Sis better than Cherry on this composition? That's the question right now.
Right, we see fairly standard trinkets, sort of, implying that he didn't even try to counterpick it at all, but is just going with the raw comps in their base form.
Yeah. Oh,
and you
man.
have to question if that's really the best choice here, he very easily could have just completely counterpicked Cherry, just had Bulwark of Light on Crusader as well as Bolster on Man-at-Arms, and then having Numbing Incense on the Abomination and Crusader, just make it so that they're both highly resistant to stuns while also taking a lot less stress.
True, I agree. Or maybe just taking the snap on the front liners as well, because
exactly,
or maybe just getting the snap on the MAA even. I don't know. But I think that those guys they just know what they're doing as well. So we should be kind of criticizing their choices. The trinkets they were using are just versatile and useful anyway. So you have to feel like that's just why they're doing this. Yes. Also, maybe Cherry didn't have that much time to experiment. Also, we see the transformation potentially just getting rid of the Crusader from the get-go. Right, so because Sis went for the Crusader of Cherry and Cherry went for the A-bomb, so this means like the Crusader of Sis is potentially just gonna waste 2 turns right now, coming back into the rank 2, and might still get pushed out again. So this is very decent.
Right, but obviously, the thing about Crusader is that he's no matter what position he's in, he's never truly wasting turns because him going for the Holy Lance essentially just him going for the base smite, a skill you never see, but one that does so much damage and is just exactly what Holy Lance is.
Yeah, but he do relinquish a lot of control and stress this way. There are no those accusations available, there are no
that
stuns.
That is very true, yes.
And Cherry has 2 stuns in the front line. And she can just reliably stun lock the Abomination of Sis. So this one you can just kind of a minor misplay in terms of the openers. Obviously, I'm not here to judge this because this is Sis being super proficient at the comp, so he maybe just knows better than me what he's supposed to be doing here. And also, you see a lot of damage potentially just coming down again from Sis. So still, like, he is maybe taking like the short end of the stick here in the first opening turn of the fight, but nothing is really solved here yet. Like, we just see a lot of damage coming through, a lot of stress, like those minor things happening, the stuns, the pushes, but seriously, this is such an even game still. There's no way to tell who is taking over. We see Sis also dropping the bolster.
You see a game where it's completely decided before the first turn's even finished, and this game clearly isn't going to be won.
And it's matched by Cherry as well, so they both use the bolster from the get-go, just securing the stress reduction, which is very, very big for both of them. So it's gonna be an even stress match, I have to feel like, that's just it. And by the way, Cherry did transform on the A-bomb, whereas Sis did not. So this means that right now the A-bomb of Cherry is a single 10 ahead of Sis, and this is just going to be like this burst of stress coming up sooner than Sis is. So this probably will mean also that we see like we will see the affliction coming into play sooner for Cherry than for Sis.
Right, potentially, just untransforming to get that cycle going of the horror stacks. Most likely going for a Manacles, potentially even onto the Abomination, though. Instead, just simply goes for the safe play, goes for the Houndmaster, and shuts him down for a turn.
Yeah. And it's just very big, right? Because this means that this is, again, like, blocked. Like, there are 2 characters right now which will do 0 stress to Cherry. Cherry has this very big stress dealer still available, or at least like a threat there, right? This Crusader is still sitting up in the front line, so he will probably absorb a lot of those stuns and absorb a lot of the pressure as well. We might see like Sis kind of matching that, by the way, so just kind of moving this Crusader out. I would like him to see, actually that's kind of a weird move.
No, instead actually see an attempted Abomination.
I don't like it, for a variety of reasons, really, because first of all, like, if he moved the A-bomb to the middle, he's just gonna be super comfortable at just dropping those Beast Vials. So you really don't want that to happen.
Exactly.
And then you also have like 65% move resistance still kind of from that transformation, because it persists over over 3 turns, I believe. So this also means that this kind of was a squandered move, and you could have easily just moved the Crusader of Cherry away, which again like kind of alleviated the pressure. We could kind of matched her in terms of pressure in this game, which doesn't happen, and right now we see like basically Sis on his back foot still.
Right, yeah, it's just very clearly, I mean, to a degree, he's on the back foot. He has the Houndmaster stunned, he has the Crusader unable to do stress at the moment, and he's only on his first cycle of the Abomination transformation. Meanwhile, Cherry, has already transformed in and out of the Abomination once, has gotten a couple of stuns off, has gotten Bellows down, has gotten Hound's Harry's, like, just overall, she's very much so in a winning position, even if it is very minor.
Yeah, I mean, that Holy Lance also targeted at the MAA. I'm not sure this is the right target for you, man. Because you want to just kind of target the squishy characters, maybe the Houndmaster even. If you Holy Lance him twice, there's like they are quite good odds that you can actually just get him to 0 HP. So, and then you force like a single lick wounds. It might be the deciding factor in the entire game then, because you know a single the stress versus stress is a game of inches. It feels like Cherry is ahead in the game of inches right now. She's like 2 inches ahead of Free.
I completely agree. Yeah.
And maybe just forcing a single lick wounds might just turn the game around for you. Obviously, Sis also kind of moves this Houndmaster to 4th, which means he's kind of comfortable right now just not eating those stuns. He'll be just consistently able to dish out the damage. But honestly, just being controlled for a single turn still is a decently big detriment for you. When I just see the Crusader of Cherry again, the kind of chain stunning the Abomination of Sis might not work right now. It actually comes through, so kind of lucky, honestly, because Cherry doesn't have the double stun trinkets there, right? It's just
exactly, yeah, we just see the
20% chance bonus.
Rid of Execution. And
yeah, so it's like 50-50. Yeah. I would just
50-50, you know, just paying off in Cherry's favor, getting the stun on the Abomination, preventing him from transforming in and out, delaying Sis's cycle by yet another turn, allowing Cherry to just continue to gain an advantage, as we can see that she's already applied far more, you know, a bit more stress than Sis has.
Yeah, that's dodge number 2, but I just don't understand why you'd be hitting the MAA though. Like, you have so many better targets available, like the Houndmaster specifically, 2 Holy Lances, and this guy has 0 HP, almost like guaranteed to be at 0 HP, and that just doesn't work for Sis right now, and he is at a very large disadvantage in a game that might just eliminate him from the tournament at all.
Right, you know, this is the final match, potentially, you know, and if Cherry's able to take this home, you know, there's not much we're going to be able to say. She's just been playing very well. She's been controlling Sis this entire time, preventing his Abomination from getting the horror stacks, preventing the Crusader from going for the going for the Zealous Accusations, you know, just doing everything in her power to just stop Sis from accomplishing his goal.
Yeah, it looks like
she's been playing very well this whole time.
Yeah. Absolutely, it's such a dominant performance by Cherry then, right? You have to just believe that she is just rightfully so in the finals right now. It's like she was able to kill Mangle before, and right now just losing to Sis wouldn't be a big surprise to anyone, but she's just apparently taking over the game. Very big plays coming from her, seriously. I'm so surprised, but pleasantly so, right, as well. So
exactly, yeah, because once again, nobody expected her to make it this far, let alone make it this far and be winning with a dominant performance.
I mean, making
I don't think
it out
a
of
single
groups
game where she's just won by like the edge of her teeth, you know, like she's just always had these extremely comfortable wins.
Yeah, again, like being in a group with Goliath and Cetra and still coming out victorious in such a dominant fashion that she did, it just feels so good, right?
Impressive.
She did lose to Sis 2-0 in a very... By the way, this was kind of scary for her, because I was kind of afraid for the finals, because it looked like she just got stomped by Sis. Like, she was definitely, like, miles ahead of both Goliath and Cetra, but she was miles behind Sis on what was, like, Thursday? I feel like this was Thursday, right? Thursday matches. And right now, like,
exactly,
it looks like the tables have turned, and she's at least evenly matched, or if not slightly better than Sis.
Right, you know, just in day 2 of the group stages when these two played, you know, we saw Sis just have a, you know, pull out a victory, you know, get the win over Cherry, and we can clearly see here, you know, Cherry did not want a repeat. She wanted the run back, she wanted the rematch, and she did not want it to end the same way. Yeah,
but when you look at the stress bars right now, though, you can see that they're quite even, so we saw like a slight lead for Cherry before. Obviously, she still has a kind of decent HP lead overall, but the stress isn't that bad, right? The stress battle is basically even Steven, so we may just see, you know, this kind of extending into a late game battle, unless those bleeds actually come into play, which they just might, by the way, because there are like a lot of stacks right now across the board for Cherry. So, and Cherry is very healthy. Like, I don't know how she did this, but she actually just managed to do a lot more damage than Sis in this battle, which usually kind of is the opposite in those fights. Like, whereas Sis is just the person who delivers both stress and damage. In this case, it is Cherry.
But one thing to mention is that here, Cherry getting triple afflictions, meaning that Sis is the first one that has to deal with them, meaning that even if it's only by a single turn, he's going to have to, you know, deal with the potential of act outs from the afflictions just that little extra more.
Yeah.
And that, you know, small little that just one extra resolve check could be what causes him to lose.
I feel like the HP might just cause him to lose, because let's face it, the HP bars of his characters are so low right now compared to what Cherry has been able to do. Like, Cherry is super healthy. She took like, what, maybe 30% on all her characters, the MA being like at 80% HP, whereas, Sis is at 10% on the Abomination, or like 15% on the Houndmaster, about the same on the Crusader. Only the MA remains kind of untouched. And this basically, I feel like this is the Holy Lances that kind of missed as well. So it is looking so rough right now.
The missed Holy Lances has allowed, Cherry to be a lot more comfortable, not having as much pressure on her Man-at-Arms.
And honestly, it all comes down to the first turn play, where Cherry decided to stun the Abomination of Sis, where Sis went with the Crusader. And this meant, there's like actually a huge tempo lead for Cherry throughout the fight, where this Crusader of Sis has been just consistently unable to act at all. And you see the heal comes through, in a stress versus stress, if you have to heal again, not the best sign.
It's the loss fallacy, just wanting to try and keep your characters alive as long as possible. But with the Crusader in a position such as this, unable to do any damage, I'd say that heal was a very heavy misplay. Should have just gone for the damage with the Holy Lance. Would have also put the Houndmaster into a 4th position, which would make it so that he's immune to any stun. The only way he could be targeted is by Cherry's own Houndmaster. I'd say that would have just been an objectively better play. However, because he, wanted to try and play it safe, wanted to keep the Crusader alive, not only is, him not being able to apply any extra damage, but the Houndmaster got stunned, is at even lower health than they were before, and wasn't able to take their turn.
Yeah, and the problem is also look at those bleeds. 8 damage per 10 coming down consistently across all the Wistful Sightless characters. So Sis is behind right now. Seriously, like look at this. 0 HP on the A-Bomb, 0 HP on the Crusader potentially, 0 HP on the Houndmaster. What do you do right now? Whereas Cherry's super healthy. And also, like, when you're at Death's Door, you take additional stress. When you drop to Death's Door, you take additional stress. So this is like a stress battle just being directly won by Cherry.
Exactly. Just this whole situation is saying that it's heavily in Cherry's favor, truthfully feels like an understatement at this point. And there we go, that extra tick, the Man-at-Arms ends up passing.
Yeah, it looks like you give Cherry an inch, again, she takes a mile, and she does so in such a decisive fashion right now. Look at this, Hound Cherry comes through as well. Might be a killing blow, it's not, but it just does so much stress again. Look at this. There's just so much more statistically speaking than you normally do, just because of those characters being at Death's Door, or at least having been there. So it's just gonna be such a painful situation. Look at this. Again, 14 stress for free on this Houndmaster right now.
Once again, he's going to heal, looks like. And if he does, he has no hope of winning this at this point.
No,
Cherry only has a single affliction on her side of the field, and she just really doesn't have to worry about this at all. Sis is fighting the afflictions, is fighting Cherry's stress, and is fighting the fact that, he's just keep playing far too defensively.
Yeah.
He needs to try and make those offensive plays. He needs to try and make those pushes, even if they're risky, because otherwise he'll have no hope, and this game will just simply be over.
Oh, it feels so bad, because I feel like, honestly, this just comes down, I know I'm just gonna repeat myself, it comes down to the turn 1 decision by Cherry, and to turn down decision by Sis. That's Crusader, Cherry's Crusader consistently sitting in row 1, at least absorbing pressure, whereas Sis's Crusader just useless, they're sitting in the back doing nothing. And it just feels like game over just because of this. Like, this Crusader of Sis has not been able to deliver a single stun outside of turn 1. And it just has...
And with that, Crusader's now dead. As soon as the Abomination is activated on Sis's side, they're also going to be dead due to the horror.
Yeah, oh man, look at this.
We see an act-out Absolution, but truthfully, it doesn't even matter that much, just because of how far ahead Cherry is.
It's just over, isn't it?
Manages to live, however, just a single Bellow or just a single Hound's Harry, even just going for a Zealous Accusation will be the end.
Yeah, looking at those finals, I didn't expect this to be like a 3-1 for Cherry. I didn't expect this to be like a 3-1 for anybody. It looks like this is indeed going to be that, like, that's... Oh god, look at this Cherry. I mean, Sis actually not preparing, I feel, for this fight sufficiently enough. Kind of understanding the intricacies of this mirror matchup, which she might have just never played, indeed. And Sis, I mean, Cherry just reads this like a book, and she basically is getting afflicted 10-6, afflicted not getting to heart attacks, whereas Cherry indeed is taking over right now. She has delivered about 200 stress across the board on all the characters, and right now it's just... There is no way for Sis to win this. I feel like there is, mathematically speaking, like almost 0% probability that Sis is going to be able to take this home.
Yeah, just like such a dominant performance, there's just not much that can be said at this point, Oh,
absolutely. I just feel like she just deserves this. She seriously made it through the groups. She made it through all the, whereas Sis was actually also able to play in a previous tournament. She's so inexperienced in the tournament setting, which shouldn't matter, right? And she's able to prevail through a lot of those very stressful matchups. Playing Mangle, probably one of the scariest things in the world if you're playing Butcher Circus. She's able to kind of miraculously so but still make it through the matchup. And right now she's just sitting here taking the win from Sis, taking the victory from his dying hands. And yeah, it looks like that's just it. Like, there's gonna be the dying breath for him.
Like, at this point, for the sake of Sis, we can only hope that they didn't make a dishes agreement like you mentioned at the start.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt if they did, though. Oh god, a week of washing dishes for Sis.
That's my fallen soldier.
Yeah.
Well, it seems that this game's practically over, and Cherry is the winner.
Yeah, that's a dead MAA as well. Look at this. And the singular Houndmaster here just not going to do anything. There's no miracle in this world that's just going to allow this man to survive. The Hound Cherry from Cherry just probably does this right now. Guys, we are on the cusp of having our first Butchers League champion, which is apparently, most likely, next turn going to be Cherry. Look at this. The Hound Cherry probably just does this. Look at this. What a beautiful moment right now. Boom.
Goes for the Hound Cherry. Doesn't even get the heart attack, meaning that they're
still
now able to just...
What do you do? Like, you can heal. I think you don't need to bellow this either. You can just wait this out. Because you can just wait for this Houndmaster to just die on his own. Okay, that's a bellow, actually. Oh, that's a mistake. I feel like you could have just moved and used the Crusader to use the Lance. The Lance would have finished the Houndmaster off. This is still not it, guys. This is still not it. So, Cherry's still kind of playing with her... You have to feel like she's just playing with her food, right? At this point
here. It feels like it, yes.
Because she could have just passed with the MAA, just used the Lance. This was gonna be a guaranteed kill. And yeah, she's just playing with her food. Like, maybe emotion's just taking over as well.
But once again, Sis, you gotta give him respect, for not going for the simple surrender, letting everybody, play it through, letting everyone see. And with that, it's all over. It's done.
Can you believe this?
Cherry
Congratulations. People, after 6 days of games, we have cast, I feel like, 30 hours of Butcher Circus this week. We have done so much preparation as well. It's like this has been like a week that I've been like kind of breathing Butcher Circus all the time. And we come to this conclusion of the series where Cherry is indeed able to come out victorious. And that's just it. Guys, we are done with the tournament. Cherry is the champion of the Butchers League Season 1. We'll obviously have more tournaments like this to come. We'll probably not do it in the similar format, by the way, people, because this just doesn't make sense. I mean, playing for the week's duration is just, if you are not getting paid for this, which are not obviously getting paid, it's just kind of a huge investment, like for every single caster, for me obviously as well, because this was just such a hard week of, you have to say, work for me, right? Because this was just me being the...
Right, once again, thank you so much for everything that you've been able to do for us, grow this community, put on these events, and just bring everybody together, man. Absolutely, just, I don't know if I can express my gratitude for you.
Yeah, but still, you and Sis as well, and Shuffle coming to cast those games consistently every evening. Sis, I feel like Sis has also put at least 30 hours of work into this, if not more.
Right.
You also just kind of being on the cast consistently, my man. You just kind of did excellent job there, so thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who did this, but especially, congratulations to Cherry, who is the winner here right now. And it's just absolutely amazing that she has been able to deliver those kills. She has been able to deliver those wins. She's been able to destroy Sis 3-1, no less, in those final series. Where I feel like Mangle was just a bigger issue for her than Sis was in the end. Which is a very, very scary prospect, honestly. Like, she is so, so good. Yeah, Cherry is a female, by the way. Yes, Cherry is female.
Yeah. There were some issues with scheduling, but at the end of the day, I say that this was a fantastic event, and I'm so glad that I was able to participate in it as a commentator.
Yeah, totally. So I kind of want to ask if Cherry would like to kind of give us an interview right now. I don't know if she's maybe kind of too shaken up. We might just ask her. Good games to Cherry. I'm just going to ask her if she wants to do an interview. Guys, by the way, also huge thanks to all the people who have been watching, because you guys made it worth for us. Because if we had like 0 people watching us right now, it would have made 0 sense, absolutely 0 sense to kind of be casting to an empty audience. So you people are amazing for just being there with us.
Right. Everyone watching, thank you so much for coming out, witnessing this, and just being so active in the chat, and even the people that are just lurking. Once again, thanks so much for being here. Means a lot.
Huge props. Whew, what a crazy week it has been, people. It's such a crazy week. I can't believe this is over like this on this day as well, because we had like so many complications coming into this. I'm kind of glad we were able to get those matches to resolve. Also, huge props to Adelbert, guys, who agreed to play for us today, who put up like 4 excellent games on the table. And yeah, just made it super close in the end. Mangle as well, guys. Mangle coming up yesterday, playing against Cherry, almost getting it, but not able to clutch it the final game 5. Also, huge props to them, man. Also, huge props to everyone who was actually able to make it through the qualifiers, or to everyone who actually just volunteered to be there. Play their games out of their minds, guys. This is such a crazy week. Probably the best week I've had streaming Butcher Circus altogether, or maybe just streaming at all in my life. But this is just also so much work. I feel like I just need a lot of rest right now.
Right, don't blame you in the slightest.
Whew. Man, such a crazy game. The final one as well, like the mirror matchup, you couldn't have really wished for anything better, because it just shows, that Cherry was indeed able to take it from CEST on a comp he was so comfortable using as well. So huge props to everybody. I feel like next week I might just kind of dialing down a little bit on the Butcher Circus. Maybe just I'll be switching to some other games slowly, because I'm just so tired of just consistently watching this. Oh, hey Cherry!
Cherry,
there we go.
I don't know.
Congratulations, Cherry, on taking the big W.
Hold on.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hold on. I had some incels talking, did I?
Oh yeah, we can hear you as well.
Got him, base! Got him!
Oh, sis, you're so loud!
Say hello. Say hello.
Hello.
I mean, saying this as loud is nothing new.
Pyromaniac, thank you for 5 bucks. Guys, we got our donation today as well. Thank you so much, Pyromaniac, for doing this. Oh man. Cherry, congratulations. Do you have any kind of opening words for this? Because I'm not prepared to ask any questions. So how do you feel just coming up victorious here?
Unfortunately, it looks like she already left the call.
Oh man.
She just simply wanted to drop by, say hello and everything.
Hello, no, she's here, so run.
Oh no, she's here. She's here.
To talk to us. Hello.
Cherry, you there?
She is here. Say hello.
Am I here? Hello.
Hey, Cherry.
Confusing.
Ask the question then, guys. Come on, casters. Come on,
Okay.
boys.
So how did feel game 5 yesterday against Mangle? I feel like this is the question I really want to pop right first from the get-go.
No, that's...
Okay, you're cutting off, sis. You're cutting off.
She doesn't want to say it. She's literally she's just giggling.
Okay, we're fine with that though.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. Just after the amazing performance she's put on, I can only imagine how tense it must have been. The fact that she's able to laugh it off in the end, I'm glad for her.
Yeah, because there were so many moments at which you could have just been eliminated from the tournament. Her just making it out of the groups, taking Cetra down. First of all, I think it was like a 1-2 as well, and this could have meant that she was not gonna be able to even qualify to the groups, like out of the groups, right? Would have meant like Cetra was gonna make it out. And then the semifinals as well against Mangle, no one else but Mangle. She was able to get the final 2 games in a row. She took over the series. She drove it home. Such a crazy turn of events there as well. The final game being as clutch as one can humanly imagine. And then against CEST in the finals, such a crazy turn of events once again. Like she was able to dominate the series, I feel, and just take the decisive big W. Actually just depriving CEST of the champion title. Which means we have 2 champions, actually. We have 2 moderators and 2 champions right now on our Discord. So I'm kind of glad I chose you guys as moderators prior, so you guys kind of deliver right now.
Now,
Let's
Cherry,
take this moment
here's a question that I have for you.
Everybody watching, subscribe, join Mikefield stream like this guy. He is the #1. He is the Elon Musk of Darkest Dungeon, this guy. Throw your money at him because he's too humble to ask for it. But he lives in the 3rd world, okay? He needs all of your support.
Anyway, so Cherry, I do have a question for you. So in the group stages, after you lost to CEST, though you knew that you were advancing, did you have sort of like that thought that you might have to face him again in the finals, or did that thought never really cross your mind until the time finally came?
She's just smiling at me.
Okay, Trey might not be the person for interviews, I feel.
Not
Yeah.
quite,
Which
it
is
seems.
fine. Which is fine, man.
I'm
Like,
not the person for interviews.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
She is the person for getting free shit, though, isn't she? Boom, number one.
yeah, she's the person for
Where's
winning,
the person for
man.
getting free shit, boom, twice in a row.
I actually called her, like, you don't know this probably, sis, because you haven't been watching the stream, but I called her Cherry the Destroyer for the tournament purposes. So she has been playing as Cherry the Destroyer today, and destroy she did. She really did destroy.
Team Sis Cherry has taken every single victory in every Darkest Dungeon tournament.
I mean, that is
I'm
true. The
second
duo,
on one of them.
yeah, the duo of you two have a 100% tournament win rate.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the glorious 0%, by the way.
Hey, I'm happy with my third place in the Misakun.
Absolutely.
Anyway, guys, we're off. Have fun. Thank God that is over, to be honest, Mike. Jesus Christ, that was such fun, though, especially as a caster on these initial stages. Must have been 7 hours in a row, twice, like 2 days in a row we were casting.
What an
Really?
insane week, really. Absolutely crazy week of work. And this was really, like, felt like work at some point. Fun as well, but also so much work we put into this. Sis, I'd like to thank you specifically because you are, like, probably the second person after me just doing a lot, like, putting a lot of work into this. Cherry as well, designing the logo for the tournament as well, kind of helping us with the, the kind of graphical part of things. And then even coming into play, like on the spot, like she just decided to, she wanted to take the spot to want to take part in the tournament in the end, and she came out victorious. It's a crazy thing. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here as well to the viewers. This has been such an amazing week. I actually, this is like, I was kind of scared for today because of all those kind of personal issues we had with SBRH, but we managed to kind of resolve this ADO part as well, kind of coming out huge on the final day, guys. Like, you can never undervalue how much he has done for this tournament as well. Agreeing to take this, come from the third seed in the group, take the fight against CIS, make it possible for this tournament to kind of, play out in its entirety. I'm really happy we managed to actually make this work, and yeah, this kind of, you have to feel this was a huge success altogether.
At the end of the day, Mike, it only comes down to one person, and that is you. I was going to say me there for a joke, but I couldn't even bring myself to do it, Mike. The number one guy here, again, everyone, like, join, subscribe, follow, Instagram, blah, blah, blah.
You should work in advertising, sis, seriously. That's just kind of a small suggestion for you. Drop whatever you're doing. Maybe you're actually working advertising. I don't know this.
I'm a male escort.
Oh, that will actually work as well. That voice is hot, you have to admit it. Guys, this being said, I think this concludes the stream for the day. As I said, 30 hours of streaming does it for me, I think. Does it for everybody concerned. Thank you, everybody, once again, and yeah, stay tuned. Let's host someone. Let's just give, like, let's just kind of move all this positive momentum we came into this tournament with to somebody else's stream. So I'm just gonna choose a stream to host right now, and we will indeed find someone else whom you will people enjoy your evening with. This being said, thank you once again so much, people. That was I'm in debt with every single one of you. What a day! And again, thanks so much, Pyromaniac, for dropping $5 there. Really like the highlight of the evening as well. So on top of everything else, such great thanks to everybody as well. Whew. Thank you, people. Stay tuned for more content.
Thank you.
Stay lovely. And yeah, I'm just gonna find someone worthy of the host right now. Probably not StarCraft 2 because you people are not into that too much. Let me see. You could honestly just do Goliath, I guess. Or there's a let's do Doug Slaggins, guys. He's playing StarCraft. He's such a chill guy. He'll definitely explain everything to you. And Doug is such a nice streamer. Like, he's one of my favorites. Like, such a chill person overall. He used to play DT. He kind of pivoted. He's like an MTG guy. Really worth watching. He's like such a fun person to just watch him play. So guys, let's just kind of do a show match in StarCraft 2 maybe as well on stream sometime, because I actually offered this to him. If he agreed to, I might just do like a StarCraft 2 duel. So let's just host Doug Slaggins. Because we have been hosting Goliath extremely, like a decent bunch, whereas Doug Slaggins hasn't really been getting that much love from us. So let's do it. Also, Doug, like one of the very first people to ever host me, so you have to appreciate that.
We won. Bye-bye. Ha.
Bye-bye.
Right. With that, everyone, take care.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.